we had 3 clues on the euro this morning. And again, we can use these same clues on any market, any time frame you want. But 3 clues this morning here on the euro really made it quite easy for us. And the first clue was the bear channel. Now, the bear channel tells me when price rises up, I'm going to sell those highs. When price falls, I'm going to buy those lows. Okay, that was the first clue. Didn't really need much of it this morning, but ultimately we knew that if price rose up, we'd be buying up to those highs and sell it back down. The second clue was the inside day. And the inside day basically told me that if we break out, and again, previous highs from yesterday, previous lows from yesterday, what does an inside day tell me? An inside day tells me that when we're inside that range, buy the lows, sell the highs, right? Avoid that middle. We talked about that before. We had all this lined this morning. We also knew that if we broke below that previous low of day, I'm going to be selling retracements down to that next level of support down there, which will be that swing low. If price was to fail and come back up, you better believe it, that's a bullish clue. I'm going to buy a pullback or buy a 2-step pattern above that previous low of day. We call that the failure. Whenever we go out of a range, fail, and then come back into a range, that's a big clue. I want to buy that failure by the sellers. And then it's the exact opposite, right, or the same to the flip side. So if we end up going higher here, I'm going to buy a pullback above the previous high of day. If it was to fail and come back down in, I would sell the previous high as the failure. Now, the bear channel, what happened today? Well, the bear channel was in play. And so, of course, we start our day here rattling around inside. We're going to drop, and when I drop below the previous low of day, you guessed it, I'm going to sell a retracement. Now, that retracement failed. And when it failed, it came right back up in, and I bought the previous low to bring it right back up. We did all this live in real time this morning. As members, you'll have the tools you need to trade right along with me. As a guest, we showed you guys how well this worked today on the euro, the Russell, the crude. This is just one of the examples. So, of course, we buy the previous low of day when we fail to the downside. Now, a failure is a really big clue. Didn't take long for it to go back up above the highs. Breaks above the previous high, a little bit later on in the morning, what do? We buy a pullback. Now, here's where that bear channel comes into play. Okay, the bear channel now will be your target. So the high of that channel, that's my target when I buy above that previous high of day. I also know I'm then going to try to sell this thing right back down. The highest percentage trade comes at the high of that bear channel. So we begin our day inside. We go outside to the downside, we fail. We come back up, buy those lows, nice big winner there in the euro. We then go right up to the high above the previous high of day, buy a pullback there, goes all the way up. We're buying pullbacks on the way up. And that finished our morning, guys. Over 100 ticks of profit, over $1,000 on the euro this morning. That would be dollar bullish, which would be euro bearish, and of course we get price on the euro drops. What's my plan of attack? You got it, sell retracements. We're going to retrace off those lows into a wave pattern short at 842. I get a +5, -4. You can see it fails and comes right back up. So I make 2 ticks, right? Not a big home run winning trade, but the next trade sure is, and oftentimes some of the best trades you get are after you fail on a trade you just took. I always tell people, if you got your stops in place correctly, you should be able to, when you get stopped out, if it's really placed correctly, that should take you now into your next trade, right? Because that pattern is failing. So of course I mark up one swing high. Okay, momentum hasn't curled yet. A second swing high. Now you can see momentum curls up from the lows. Again, wave pattern short, fails. Mark up my swing high right there. We break above that swing high. And guys, this is a simple 2-step pattern long here on the euro for 21 ticks. So we make 2 ticks on a failure below the previous low of day. And just like our plan told us to do, at 8:45, we noticed the buyers were in charge, bringing it back above that previous low of day, and we buy the failure after those sellers failed. Now, follow me up top here, guys. This is where we actually took the pattern. This is a 21 range chart. Okay, there's my previous low of day right there. Now, again, I can take this on any time frame I want. This is where we actually took that pattern. We went down, new lower low, up into that 21 trigger, and that was the wave pattern short.